finally I could catch hold of the coach of the team who has been performing brilliantly. I'm talking about Big Fafa from DRX. First of all, welcome, and how has India been treating you so far?
첫 번째는 인도에 환영합니다. 인도는 어떻습니까?
너무 좋고 일단 이 e스포츠 분위기가 너무 좀 터프하고 좀 매력적인 것 같습니다. 이 팬들이 너무 좀 열광이 너무 뛰어난 것 같습니다.
He thinks India is great. Also, the esports scene in India is really great. It has surprised him, and he thinks that there will be much competition going forward.
I love that. DRX has been performing brilliantly, especially when it comes to these lobbies. They are top two currently. But do you think there is any Indian team who can actually threat going ahead?
DRX가 아주 잘하고 있는데 하지만 어떤 인도 팀이가 그 경쟁적으로 도전할 수 있는 것 같습니까?
오늘은 데이 1이기 때문에 사실 모든 팀이 기회가 있는 것 같고요. 그리고 제가 봤을 때는 모든 팀들이 다 특색이 있기 때문에 어떤 특정한 팀을 지금 뽑긴 힘들 것 같아요. 모든 팀이 다 기회가 있다. 네, 그리고 다 실력이 다 뭐 한쪽으로 치우쳐져 있는 것 같진 않아요.
He says that it's only the first day today, so we can't predict the nature of all the teams. Every team has been performing well, and the first day isn't sufficient to decide the nature of all the teams and who is going to perform well and compete well.
I love that mentality once again. Last question. There was a big fight between D plus Kia and DRX for that chicken dinner. You won against your regional rivals. Does that improve your morale going ahead to day 2 and day 3?
네, 최근에는 그 T 플러스 기아랑 그 지역적인 라이벌이잖아요. 그 경기에서 아주 경쟁적인 경기에서 이겨낸 것을 앞으로는 경기에서 영향을 미칠 수 있습니까?
네, 당연히 미친다고 보고 또 DK가 뭐 상당히 교전이 강한 전 세계에서 가장 강한 팀 중에 하나이기 때문에 그것으로 인해서 저희가 좀 많이 용기를 얻은 것 같아요.
As we all know that D plus Kia is the best team all around the world, so of course it affects us, and this has got us a lot of motivation going forward into this competition.
I love that. DRX has been performing brilliantly, and ladies and gentlemen, that was Big Fafa from Team DRX. It has been fantastic, but over to you, casters.
Well. Expect the unexpected. It's only day 1. It's hard to predict here, but DRX, so far, their performance has been really decent so far.
True.
They are now in Tumble 1, and one more game remains for DRX, though. So do you think they are going to be able to continue this momentum, or have they figured out the secret sauce of this lobby?
Hey man, I think if it's anyone who is who will be able to keep this going, it has to be DRX or D plus Kia. They've done phenomenal with how they've recovered. And, of course, with how the teams are doing, Mr. Sharma is happy. He's running around the back right now. But anyways, I mean, it's been a phenomenal day for everyone. The recovery that we've seen from the teams from South Korea. Of course, the outlying contenders from Japan as well. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, as we always like to say, if you are in Delhi, do drop by and say hi. There's a lot of action, not just on the stage, but off the stage as well for you to enjoy.
But hey, there was also the trophy for the International Cup right there
Oh
in the
yeah,
cabinet. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to have a closer look at the trophy, you know where to come.
Exactly. It is 3 nations, 1 crown. There can only be 1 champion. But of course, if you guys are looking to, check out some BGMI action, also maybe play a couple games with your friends, there is the Challenger Zone here at Yashabumi itself here. So be sure to come down here in Delhi. And, well, we do see a couple of very intense games apparently in the crowd, huh?
We saw a unique jersey in the crowd.
Revenant Xbox made it. At the finals.
Yeah, technically, I mean, even Salty made it, so I guess there's still some sort of reminiscence.
Whoa.
Pharaoh is also there. Are we forgetting about
that
it?
is low, guys. That is really low.
We do that to all of them. Anki as well.
Anki too.
Okay, fair enough. All funs and games here. Let's talk a little bit more on Reignite so far. This is the team that has performed on the... Well, they could not qualify directly into its global championship here, but they were in the top 2. So I would say today itself, it was a very rocky start for them.
Yeah.
But with that performance in the map of Miramar, now they're currently sitting in the top 8 here. So let's talk a little bit more on how Reignite has been performing and what have they made in terms of adjustments here in the map of Miramar, which gives them a little bit of chance.
To be honest, I like the fact that Reignite is not really someone that's backing away from fights, first of all. And if you look at every single game Reignite's played, they're constantly getting a good balance of elimination points and even a few placement points. Even if they're not able to survive in the final few moments, you will see Reignite constantly getting those elimination points, and that's really keeping them consistent. All they need to do is just play the same way, and I don't think Reignite is breaking any sort of sweat. They're just playing their natural gameplay, and it's working
Exactly. I agree with what Nectar said 100%. I mean, this team, they're not doing anything flashy. They're just sticking to the fundamentals of how they know how to play the maps, how they want to compete against the teams in their region, and they're just keeping their heads down, getting whatever points they can consistently in every single match. But that is also the reason why we do not see them in the top 3 or in the top 4. They're there in the top 8. They've managed to keep up a decent pace. But again, you have to step up after a certain time, and I think for a team like Reignite, that will be tomorrow. Today's goal, they have succeeded 100%. They have kept a decent pace, a decent number of points every single match, and I think this is going to be the confidence booster for tomorrow once they actually have time to analyze the performances of all the other teams they're playing against.
And I also want to bring up one thing, right? I'm sorry to cut you off. I also want to bring up one thing. That fight between DRX and JP. We saw that split coming through from JP was a 2-2 split, and DRX was so brilliant in realizing that there's only 2 players in that compound. They instantly rammed their vehicles, got the first knock. Now DRX knew they had the man advantage. And I guess JP, they need to figure out a way. They're playing it passive. They want to play for the consistency, but that's not how you play, man.
Also, by the way, there's an absolute wild card in the mix right now that hasn't really shown up, but we are seeing them make some interesting plays as well. MTR.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is a team that likes to go for that split approach all the time. Kind of like the old K9 esports where they used to always be in a 1v3. MTR loves their 2v2 splits inside of the map. The problem is, today we haven't really seen that from them, and I was just talking to Mr. Sharma. He was a little bit concerned about what is going with them. Are they coming up with something new?
I think MTR is just by far one of the most unique teams thus far in day one itself, just because of every single rotation they have made has been very, very unorthodox, and they have gotten away with some of it here. So I'm curious to see how this unique rotation that coming from them is going to be able to scale in towards the map of Miramar here, because this is going to be the second Miramar for today, and I'm excited to see how the teams has adapted here for the final game of day 1 here in the BMIC. Is about to begin right here, right now.
One last game of the day, and as the plane's going to hit the skies once again, even with that, the question marks still do linger in our minds. Will we see a major bounce back from the latter half of the board, or will we see the first half once again dominate the same way? Indian team slowly and steadily gassing out, but Seoul, even they're on the rise, and we cannot ignore that. You've got the players on the screen, and everyone is locked in and loaded, but you still start to wonder, what exactly is going wrong with K9 Esports and God's Reign, including OG?
I mean, as you mentioned, there's a lot going on in the heads of people, a lot of expectation, a lot of anticipation, leading to a lot of agitation amongst the entire crowd, man. This day has been the most chicken in a Nebula Esports taking the first, and out of nowhere, DRX and Seoul making that leap in the previous Miramar. But this time again, we are looking to kick things off with a very interesting switch of play from DRX, who have decided that they're going to drop towards the western edge of the map.
Ruins and Trailer Park. It's a bit of a switch-up coming through from DRX, but Nebula now drop clashing MTR. The previous game, Nebula dropped all the way towards the southern side of Los Leones, but now this time, Nebula, they really do want to take that fight against MTR. Nebula is done playing it passive. They're done bringing in the experiments. Now Nebula wants that blood, and I love it. This is the Nebula Esports that is supposed to thrive in chaos, and if they do indulge themselves amongst the chaos, they will thrive.
But Necro, looking at the circle, we have seen Seoul do well when the circle in Miramar favors them, and this one is going to be towards the northern side. Seoul dropping towards the east of Craterfield Hills, and of course there's a little bit of a 1-3 split. Legit is the only player up north, the other 3 towards the south, western edge of the circle. Just a little bit off where the players of Nongjam Red Force are. But as we were talking about MTR, Nebula is used to aggression in El Pozo. Because let's not forget, they're used to going up against Som and the boys.
I'm a little bit weirded out by Seoul's drop. They usually like to head on towards La Cabrera. That's what they did in the previous game as well. But this time, switching things up on the fly towards Power Grid. Yeah, maybe they want to get their hands on the vehicles, or maybe they were expecting visitors. I do not know. But as of now for Reignite, they're in the close proximity of JP. And JP is actually just going to make a run away from this compound, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
JP is struggling in the overall standings, and Reignite, they're doing pretty good.
Look at God's Reign, though. They've completely given up any sort of action for Impala. They are, in fact, just... Right now, they're going to get suffocated for loot as well. Just away from the players of True Rippers, but on our screens, Reignite, full control of Los Leones. The flight path did enable them to have a decent start to this game as well. The only problem is they're going to have to push up north for that circle, and this is one of those teams that might just end up getting gate-kept by the bunch that are there on the southern edge.
K9 Esports is the only team among the bottom 5 that's Indian.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Just noticed that. Which means K9 Esports, now it's time to bounce back. But as of now for MTR, seems like avoiding that drop clutch against Nebula Esports is probably the best possible decision they came up with. We saw them duke it out in the practice matches as well, and Nebula was constantly winning those drop fights. And MTR knows it's their forte. Nebula likes to take the early game fights, and they will come out on top because the gun power is supreme.
I mean, for sure. But let's see how things turn out, because we look at the leaderboard, and it's very interesting. One game can propel a team like K9 Esports into the top 3, the top 4, if they have a massive chicken dinner, and that is what they're hoping for right now. The only two teams that have kind of kept themselves away from the rest of the competition are DRX and Nebula, fighting for the top 2. But MTR, look at them. The distance closes in. They find themselves up against 2 players from the set of Seoul. And they're surrounding them as well.
Yeah, MTR. I don't think they've got any intentions of actually going for the fight. MTR just wants to pull off a rotation, but maybe Seoul can be the one to stop them in tracks. They can definitely play the spoiler, but now it's dead Seoul. They're going to let go of them. And I guess somewhere down line, when the opponents really do not want to mess around with you, why would you want to mess around with them? Maybe just move your own merry way. Unless they're in your way, then that's a different thing. But as of now, MTR, they just want to move their own way.
I mean,
I don't think it's going to be a problem.
I agree with you, Necro. But I mean, Seoul should have kind of backed off because they saw 4 vehicles over there. The new 4 players from the side of MTR are going to be the squad to deal with. And Seoul is playing a split. Let's not forget their firepower is divided right now. It can be a big deterrent to what they want at the end of this game. And I think they also realize that the regroup call has been made as Goblin and Knuckle are looking to join Joker on top of this hill.
Interesting. I'm not exactly sure what MTR's game plan is. Even they're split apart. It's a 2-2 split MTR's working with. And if Seoul directly makes a 4-man pounce on top of that compound, the 2 isolated players from MTR will stand no chance. Longshim taking those shots against K9 Esports. Nothing critical happening yet. Just able to chip away a lot of damage. And the man still barely survives by the skin of his teeth.
Well, at least he's still alive and kicking. He can heal up as well. So lucky for Slug to just not get knocked out there in the open. It would have been so unfortunate. But K9 Esports, they've completely pushed for the center. We just saw Nongjim Red Force build up pressure on their heads. They're not going to be the only ones. Mysterious One, Mad Kings are moving for the same spot as K9. But here we have on our screens DRX. An off-drop start on the map of Miramar. But they're making sure, as we said, as we were talking about it on the desk, they like to play slow. They like to take a breath every single time they have to make a call. And in this game, they have so much space towards the northern side to work with that this can easily be a DRX chicken dinner again.
Mysterious 4. Since the boys have got a little bit cold, I'm pretty sure they would want to go back to the ways they like to play, even in a normal lobby. I mean, they're up close and personal against Mad King, so I'm not sure if that's going to be shaking up their decision-making. Nebula all the way towards El Pozo still, and I guess Nebula just trying to search for the foes. They think maybe MTR still around the block. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with Nebula, but it's not the idealistic Nebula that we've seen in the past. Nebula is supposed to be a quick rotator, but they're still taking their sweet little time.
Maybe all of that momentum from the first half of the day slipping out of their hands has them on their toes. They're on the fence about what needs to be done. But I think, let's see how the rest of the game go. I want to see when Nebula are going to head towards how they're planning to breach the next stage of the circle. OG as well, still sticking around Chumacera, where you have D+ here just exiting Impala right now. But on our screens, we have JP and Mysterious 4. JP, are they about to run into a trap? Omega and Snowjord, they try to make an escape. Are they going to succeed in this?
JP. Yeah, the shots were taken, but once again, Mysterious 4 too slippery. Just slip away from their hands. And look at Bunny. He's lining up that aim. Waiting for the man to actually stand still, and then Bunny's going to go for the shots. Now these shots are taken, but once again, it's all good in the hood. JP's safe. JP's placed out simple. As you brought up a while ago, Meta Ninja, literally copy and paste that.
Yeah, pretty much.
JP, I would say you would see a little bit more of that intention from them as they do sort of take some of the fights. But Meta Ninja was completely passive.
Yeah, I mean, JP, at least at the start of the day, were very consistent. From then, they have fallen off just because of the same thing. So a lot of people aren't going to be aware about Meta Ninja. Meta Ninja is a team from our region that has done quite well for themselves in the last year, and we had a lot of hope from them this year as well. Yeah. But because of their passive nature, because they could not get finishes consistently, they were surviving. They would not have enough points to qualify for a lot of finales of the officials that have taken place. And JP, again, positional play, phenomenal. Team fights, sometimes they just walk away in an easy situation where they will come out on top.
True. And as of now for JP, in my opinion, they just need to amp up the aggression.
A little bit, yeah.
Or maybe just be a little bit more proactive. Simple. I mean, as of now, they've got this max center. As of now, they are rotating towards a better spot. But once again, for JP, if they really do want to have that good spot, they need to go for the fight. But if they do try to avoid that fight, then it's not going to work out that well. Shots taken against JP, and just look at the awkward spot JP is being forced into. Mad Kings just ramming their vehicles, and I cannot believe there's no casualty.
Oh man, but Mad Kings, they could have walked into a trap over there. Well, at least they do manage to pull the players of JP into the line of fire of their teammates. So Mad Kings do manage to deter the aggression from JP, and K9 Esports from top of that hill can also take a few pot shots on this unsuspecting team. Oh, but pressure from the flank. Shadow OG is going to be forced back into cover. But look at that finish feed. God's Reign taking on Mysterious 4, and they're coming out on top. Omega is still standing, but for how long is the question?
God's Reign finally on the aggressive front. They realize if they want to get their hands on a good spot, they need to go for that fight against Mysterious 4. And God's Reign's actually coming out on top as well. Utilities finding those proper trades, but Omega, he still finds that full stop. But it's not going to be enough as God's Reign. They've got more men alive.
Yeah, and they find that Lost Man completely unguarded. He was in the middle of that first aid animation, gets finished off, but Reignite getting ignited at the hands of OG as Aru is going to find Yamak. That's going to be the first casualty from the side of Reignite. Second man now gone, spotted out. One more spray committed, but not enough damage for the knock.
OG just constantly spraying away.
Yeah.
The next zone shift's going to be important. And what if we see a bit of that piece of Oasis? That's going to be fun.
Oh,
but I might just be too ahead of myself. I don't think that's going to happen.
If that happens, Necro, then I think DRX will take away this game. Look at that. Nebula will also do well if there's an Oasis shift.
If you remember, they dropped all the way towards Ruins.
Yeah.
Which is on the left side of the map, extremely towards the corner. And now look at DRX. In this max center, they've got a commanding spot.
And every single time someone will try to charge towards DRX, they're going to be forced into an open terrain. And you see that cluster that was there, that will become the death circle that everyone will be forced to conquer or get out of. And it's not going to be easy, but Reignite from one fight running into the next one. They're going to try and avoid JP for as long as possible.
DRX, boys next to each other. RC as well in the close fray. CAG on the southern side and K9 Esports as well playing around that same block. NS right next to Soul. Even Rejects now finding themselves in a good spot. Reject knows they finally cracked the code. They know what they need to do to find themselves in a good spot on the map. D plus Kia getting a bit of those loose stragglers. And these crappy elimination points can definitely be the confidence booster and the mood setter. OG, today's performance, it's been a little bit lackluster, but you can't even blame the boys of OG since they've already qualified for the Global Championship and they've got the best possible seed.
I mean, yeah, OG has the luxury of taking things lightly, but I think this is a lesson that OG needs to learn from DRX, from D plus Kia. that you still have to make sure that you showcase to everyone else as to why you are considered one of the best.
So, once again, to put it out there for the audience, D plus Kia, they've already qualified for the Global Championship,
Yes.
but to the group stage. OG, they've qualified for the Gauntlet, which is a better slot towards the group stage. But as of now, OG, this pounce on K9 Esports, it could have been devastating. And there we go. OG, they already kickstart things against K9. Slug gets knocked out, but Beast, the man's not done yet. It's time to make a monstrous play, Beast. He was able to thread the needle, find that one quick frag. And that knockout is going to be more than enough to suppress the intentions of OG. OG really do want to aggress on and shut down the reminiscence of K9 Esports. But K9, they just want to go for a quick recovery. This nade from Slug is going to find a return knock. What a beastly nade that was, Beast. Slug is back up on his feet, and OG, now once again it seems like they are in a big wall of trouble. Athanki, the only person standing inside of the fight, and K9 Esports, they're the one to dictate the fight. K9 started things off with a major disadvantage inside of the fight, but now OG, they are in a problematic shoes as Athanki is the only person standing. But there's two men of K9 Esports still alive, and just like that, within the blink of an eye, I think he gets eliminated too.
Well, somehow K9 Esports do manage to come out on top on that one. That fight had me a little bit concerned, Necro. I was at the edge of my seat wondering how K9 Esports were going to bounce back, but Slug with that opener nade did manage to break the momentum for OG. And then towards the end, not a lot that could be done by the last man playing the rooftop, but True Rippers now up against D plus Kia. Nade from Jelly keeps them at bay, but he needs to back off. The shots come through. Jelly loses a big chunk of his HP. Still alive, though, and still kicking, still ready to be in the action.
D plus Kia. 5 nades. And that's True Rippers right there. This nade was close, but still overshoots. It's going to be tough to find precision out in the open like that, especially when you do not even know exactly where the man's position. But once again, back towards that conversation, right? As I mentioned, OG's got the slot of Gauntlet, which is the best possible slot. And then D plus Kia, they've got the slot for group stage in the Global Championship. But I'm going to hold on to that thought once again, since we do see D plus Kia. Oh no, trades happening back and forth, and True Rippers maybe bouncing back.
And it's Nolbu again who hits the floor. This is the one man from the side of D plus Kia that needs to go all out for his team to take that leap towards the podium. They do bring him back. The revive comes through. D plus Kia, a very quick reset from them.
True Rippers, they're trying to form the off angles. Just thread the needle. Just find that one knock. That's going to put you in the advantageous spot. And for D plus Kia, they're completely on a defensive stance. True Rippers, you can see the boys just forming the off angles, wanting to catch the players off guard. But D plus Kia is so aware. This is what you call the surrounding awareness of an experienced team. D plus Kia knows all the possible angles that can be formed against him, and they're just pretty prepared for those. But once again, back towards the conversation that I was trying to bring on the board. As I mentioned, OG's got the best possible spot towards the Global Championship, which is the Gauntlet. And then D plus Kia, they've got the slot towards group stage. If D plus Kia wants to get their hands on the Gauntlet, they would need to place themselves on the first spot in this tournament. And then only they can have the slot towards Gauntlet. The same thing happens, and the same thing is copied and pasted towards Reject.
Yeah. And right now, both these teams are just like struggling, at least on day one itself. But Reignite, we spoke about them. We spoke about DRX. We spoke about Nongjim Red Force as well. These are the teams that are going to try and contend directly that spot in the Gauntlet, and they are going to try their level best to win. But CAG Osaka, they are making that bounce on to Nongjim Red Force, and that nade from Tizzy. It drops one. The second knock comes at the hand of Benny. Nongjim Red Force kick things off in style.
Already those 2 knocks, that's going to give them so much advantage. And this man Tizzy, look at the confidence. It's like confidence is just coursing through his veins. He knows he's so confident that he can easily eliminate the boys. Utilities misplaced from the side of CAG, and you cannot really afford that, especially when you know that you were on the verge of being eliminated from this game. Instead, Matun just backing away. Respects the opponents, and Matun does not want anything to do with the opponents. K9 Esports, even they're making the move from the back lines. And for K9 Esports, this has got to be a bounce-back game.
I mean, but they need to be careful as to where they position themselves, because if they go in an off position in the next few moments, NSR will have the upper hand. Well, CAG, they are losing bodies. Noto knocked out. Matun there on the low ground, but he gets finished off. And CAG Osaka eliminated from this game. 3 finishes claimed by Nongjum Red Force and 1 going to the players of K9. But as I was saying, Necro off position and K9 Esports getting punished for a small little mistake.
Oh, that's got to sting. That's really got to sting. K9 Esports, a big separation. And the boys not really having that surrounding awareness, lacking that. That's costing K9 Esports this game. Ninja Boy's got no other option than to move out in the open because the blue was shipping out a lot of damage, and Ninja Boy will be eliminated soon. The amount of shots that are being taken against Ninja Boy, it's not going to stand a single chance. Entirety of Nongjum Red Force were like a firing squad taking shots against him.
Yeah, a little bit of a helping hand by MTR as well. But I have to say, I mean, they could have charged for the hill, taken a fight or gone for a third party, attempted a third party against the players of Nongjum Red Force. Staying on that low ground was just signing your own death sentence, but JP, last man left alive, gets burnt alive. All thanks to the Molotov from Nolbu from D plus Kia.
D plus Kia, though, since they've still got all the 4 players around the block, you cannot count them out yet. We all thought for K9 Esports this could have been the game that might just reignite the hopes. But that's not the case. K9 eliminated with only 6 finishes. D plus Kia and True Rippers right on the opposite fray. These 2 teams have been locking horns constantly back and forth. And True Rippers, it feels like they've got the best out of D plus Kia. One of the man's knocked out. This opener is going to give them a lot of confidence boost.
But right now, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the end of the game, because all the teams that have been eliminated are the same teams that were outside of the top 10 before this match. Only Mysterious 4, one of the names that was eliminated early, trying to build up momentum from this game. And in what is happening, the end result becomes that the fight for the top is just going to get more and more intense, because this is the match where DRX and Nebula can settle their differences. Either Nebula takes over, sets themselves up for tomorrow, or DRX just gets a massive lead to play safe tomorrow.
D plus Kia as of now, though, they might just turn the tides easily. True Rippers, they need to be careful. The more they hold back, the more they play passive. D plus Kia, they will start gaining confidence. And look at the utilities finding those proper connections. True Rippers, they've already messed up. They were too passive in the fight, and D plus Kia knew exactly what they needed to do. Utilities finding the mark, and now Hirsch, the only person standing. Actually, it's Hydro. True Rippers, they've been truly ripped.
I mean, this is the one thing that we have talked about even during the showdown. Utility usage, you gotta be cautious of that as well. And D plus Kia showcasing exactly why. Hydro, what are you doing, my guy? Just running into the faces of the players of D plus Kia, draws him into the line of fire of DRX. He's still alive, but Necro, that is a very risky move, man.
I want to point out something funny.
Yeah.
Shadow just naded himself and got the Grenadier title.
Hey,
What?
gotta do something special, right?
What? Oh my god, someone just clipped that. That was so funny.
I hope he doesn't get the point for that, though.
Of course he's not, but it's so funny. As of now, though, God's Reign, Neo, oh no, back's too exposed. And Neo, the man, gets caught. Mad Kings, Apollo, he's going to be the person to actually get that. But Reignite, yeah, too exposed, and MTR. This time they're not going to spare them. Already the main man's down. Confirmation's going to follow up as well for Reignite, so that's going to be one freebie. But God's Reign being nearby, Reignite Miz. Since it's the only person standing, I don't really see a lot of possible ways Miz can actually fight back.
But Necro, both the teams that started from that northwestern quadrant are doing quite well, but you're talking about Miz not being able to fight that, huh?
To be honest, he was able to find the knock, but instantly the knock got stolen by MTR.
Hey, man, and at least he found a knock. At least he's still alive and kicking, right?
The man was not able to reap the benefits of his own hard work.
Just like real life.
Yeah, I guess. That's how it is. Reignite. At least they've got 2 finishes, and this might just be one of those games for Reignite where they drop blues. And if that does happen for Reignite, the positioning in the overall standings might just be hampered.
But I want to talk about the top again once. DRX, 3 finishes. Every single frag is just them pulling themselves further up ahead of Nebula Esports. And Nebula Esports, so far, they've just lost a man and not been involved in any action. Those finish points are going to matter a lot at the end of the day. Soul on the other side, just are they being gate kept right now by Reject and Nongjim Red Force?
Seems like it.
Yeah.
Look at NS, Nongshim. Amount of shots that are being taken against him. Oh no, MTR. How are you in surviving, and how does everyone whiff shots? MTR, oh my god, they're about to mess up this fight. Apollo, if you clutch it out, you absolute mad lad. But no, eventually, he gets eliminated from the game, but even MTR, they get third-partied. Spoilers after spoilers, MTR. They seemed at such a controlling pace, but now even that gets stolen away from them.
I mean, we would have liked if Apollo got a few more points, but he only gets 1 for that fight. We're down to the top 8 of this game. 23 players still alive. And big opportunity for D plus Kia. Big opportunity for Nongshim Red Force to bounce back. Both the teams holding on very strong to the momentum. 6 eliminations for D plus Kia. 7 for Nongshim Red Force. And both of them have all 4 players still intact. Decent map position as well. It has to be a chicken dinner for either one of these teams, Necro.
True. Nongshim Red Force. Considering they've got 7 finishes, this is going to be interesting. The fact that Nongshim Red Force is actually bouncing back in the last game itself, Johnny, it might just say a lot of things.
I mean, before this match as well, we spoke about this on the desk. The difference between the third and the 15th position wasn't that much. It was like 16, 17 points.
Yeah.
So big opportunity for everyone to make that bounce. And it was this map of Pinamar where you had to capitalize on that. It seems like Reject, Nongshim, D plus Kia, all of them are making this one count.
Yeah, but DRX is really having a concerning rise. It's making the other teams concerned. Nebula, at least they're still alive in the game, but this time Nebula, they've opted to play it passive. 0 finishes on the block so far. Nebula Esports really playing that survival game. Probably aiming for a chicken dinner. Nongshim in the front, God's Reign. Does Delta really want to play the spoiler? That's my question. And if he does play the spoiler, Nongshim's going to be the perfect team to play it against. Nongshim's feeling themselves, but Delta, he just messes up.
And goes down to the blue. Doesn't really give the satisfaction to the opponents as well, but Nongshim, one more thing I just noticed, Necro. They've been playing outside the play zone for a very long time. This team is just going after those finishes. They're cleaning house. They're picking up those loose stragglers, and that's how they're getting those points.
DK, now it's time for them to make that push. Nebula, are they confident to win this fight? Nebula's 4v4. We all know how good they are. And look at Osal. The first thing he does is molly that container.
Yeah.
Make sure no one's really hiding inside of it. That's brilliant from D+. Even though there was no one inside of it, but still, the precautions that you take before going for the fight. Molotoving some of the most obvious and the common spots. And Nomi's right next to Nolbu. He's hiding in a corner. He's just waiting for someone from D+ to actually step in the line of fire. And the moment that happens, he will surprise him with a big blast to their face. Utilities being exchanged, and what a nade that was from Kairos. That's going to open things up. The big man Nolbu down, and D+. Now they're in quite a concerning spot. There's also Adi forming the off angle, but Fabian is there to hold him off.
Oh, and Adi needed to go for the spray, needed to go for a repeat or something. But Fabian, with that nade, is going to push him back yet again. And now the Molotov is just going to make sure that Adi stays at bay. This is brilliant. D plus Kia Necro. This is the micro of the team fight that needs to happen.
Oh my
They
God,
are covering
so brilliant.
all their angles, and Adi just makes a big mistake. Although the trade comes through, all thanks to Nomi. D plus Kia, they might just beat down Nebula right here, right now.
So brilliant. That's all he could say. D+ Kia. That's experience speaking right there.
Yeah.
Just reading Nebula Esports like a book in that fight, knowing exactly what sort of a move the boys are going to make. And that comes up with years of experience. But D+ Kia, slowly and steadily converting this fight into a complete one-side. As D+, they wipe out the remnants of Nebula Esports. It was an easy piece of cake, but they lost chips. And because of that, even Nolbu gets knocked.
Oh man, D plus Kia, there are 8 eliminations on the board. I'm hoping for a big game. They have found some position to work with, at least in this game, but Soul, they're on the flank, and Soul has numbers to work with. Nakoli knows where the players of Reject are as well. They're putting pressure on Reject down south. The players of Seoul and the other two up north are going up against D plus Kia, and they're losing their lives for that. Joker gets shut down.
Nongshim Red Force XCY. Nongshim as well, they've been playing quite a calculative game.
Yeah.
I mean, the position they've got, Nongshim, all they can do is just wait it out. But slowly and steadily, even Nongshim, they need to play it and fight for control. And look at that nade from Tizzy. Oh, he's able to find the second one as well. DRX, they're getting dismantled. Nongshim Red Forces Tizzy. This man is single-handedly shutting them down one after one. But does he have another nade? If he did, I'm pretty sure that nade would have been tossed out. But Tizzy, still waiting for that man from DRX to make some sort of a mistake. So easy, the man's back upon his feet, but Tizzy, he gives away the opportunity, and now DRX, they go for the reset once again.
Yeah, and if DRX resets, then it's going to be trouble in paradise for the players of Nongshim. But look at that, Seoul still getting punished one after the other. Another knock secured. Knuckle, in fact, I believe has been finished off as well. And Reject, they're not giving up easy in that fight.
It's not looking good for any of these teams, but Nongshim is the only team that's currently dominating. 9 finishes already on the block, and Nongshim, they're hungry for a few more. And since the Blues are out in the back as well, Nongshim, they need to be adaptive. Let's see what they can do. And what a nade that was! What was that? D plus Kia eliminated with that one well-placed nade. And it was True Rippers who did it.
Yeah, they're down to the last man. It was Hydro who lobbed that nade for those points, opening up the gate for anyone playing from that northern half. But Seoul, they know where Paulo is. They're putting up more pressure. The Molotov misses its mark. And they have to be cautious as well, because on the flank, there's a lot of chaos. DRX taking on the players of Nongshim. And Nongshim getting beaten down over there. Oh, nice nade. Gets the finish, gets the point.
RC. Oh, not a lot to gather from this game. Just one finish point and maybe a few placement points, but at least it's better than all the past performances they've had so far. Seoul, 5 finishes once again on the block. Seoul's been playing quite a calculated game.
Yeah.
Not really going too aggressive, relying on their tactical instincts. And it's been working out so far.
They did manage to sneak their way inside of the top 3 before this game, and after this, maybe we're going to see them in the top 2, as we are down to the final 3 teams of this game. DRX, they have the numbers to work with, but Seoul, can they still pull off a clutch? It's Seoul, DRX, and Nongshim for the end game.
Goblin, the man's getting a bit too overconfident. There's DRX on the tail. Goblin, be careful. Your back's too exposed. And slowly and steadily, even Goblin, his position's getting compromised. That was overconfidence of Goblin being punished, but honestly, he could not even do a lot in that situation. And there we go, DRX. This rise from DRX, it's impeccable. Outstanding performance. Solid games back-to-back. The consistency's top-notch. And now with this game, DRX, they run away with the lead.
Yeah.
A well-needed win here for DRX to run away with the lead. The foundation has been set here, ladies and gentlemen, for day 1 itself in the BMIC 2025. And TRX and Carly, the team to beat for that global championship slot right now at the tippity top.
Pretty much, man. I mean, and it has been an intense journey from their perspective as well, especially in this game. Necro dropping in Ruins. Ruins is a location so ignored in Miramar that sometimes when we show the flight path, we cut it off.
They started off low-key, but ended the game with a big ping. And that is the sort of DRX that we've all seen. If you guys remember my prediction is DRX, and this is one of the main reasons why I went with them. This team is always explosive. And the fact that they're able to adapt to this lobby so quick, that's even remarkable.
Also, by the way, they aren't the only ones we got to talk about in this game. A big bounce back coming from Nongshim Red Force and D plus Kia. Both the teams performing phenomenally in the same match.
I guess it's not a good news for the Indians, right? South Korea once again starting to rise up from the overall standings.
See, you can see a very, very big difference in terms of momentum and mindset shifts here coming from the veterans of the Globals themselves here. We're talking about Nongshim Red Force, we're talking about DRX, we're talking about D plus Kia as well. Surprising enough, as the games were going on throughout today here, after the first 3 games, not a great start here for South Korea, not a great start for the Japan team. And you can see moments of brilliance like Reject, D plus Kia, Nongshim Red Force, they're starting to be very consistent in terms of racking up points. And all these small little things that they're doing and adaptations that has been made, I feel like is the biggest difference between them and the Indian teams.
Exactly. I mean, you just mentioned the most important thing, adaptation. That's what makes or separates good players from the best. That's what separates the okay teams from the great teams, the goated teams of all time. And that's what DRX has put on display. That's what Nongshim Red Force have always showcased. Doesn't matter if the first 3 games of the day do not really go your way. You just focus on the game plan that you have. You just focus on what you do best and just stick to that, and eventually things will work out.
You can see a big difference in terms of timings of in-between breaks, right? Let's talk about the in-between breaks that is happening between matches here. Approximately, what, 10 to 15 minutes max here?
Yeah.
What can you do within 10 to 15 minutes in terms of discussion, and how well are you going to be making those adaptations as well? And you can see the international teams is very quick. Like, you can see a completely different play styles coming from the teams in particular, match by match.
I'm pretty sure it's all about that quick shift in the mindset, right? As you brought up as well. It's all about clearing the past instantly. I'm pretty sure a lot of these international experienced teams, they don't even talk about what happened in the previous game. They pretty much talk about what they need to do in the upcoming game.
Exactly.
And maybe that's one of the main reasons why that's really giving them the edge.
I mean, see, these are small differences that are being made. Let's take Nongshim, for example, because that is one that was clearly visible. First few matches of the day, what was going wrong? They were playing for the center. They were trying to take those fights. They were getting picked off. What do? They stay outside the play zone entirely. Things start to work out in the last 3 games of the day. DRX, same thing. They were trying to play their natural play style. They were trying to play a little bit far away. They were trying to see if they could control the map a little bit more. They were losing individuals. They start sticking together. They start playing within like 50 to 100 meters for each other. And that's very close in terms of BGMI. And, well, slowly and steadily, they just make it to the top. And now they have a nice little safety cushion to work with as well. Man, that was 19 points. They already had a lead before this game.
Yeah, that was just insane performance here coming from DRX here. When we talk about domination here, India may have dominated the first 3 games, but by the end of day number 1, DRX is the team to beat as of yet. They are currently the leaderboard right now. But let's talk about the MVP on the match right now. As you can see, Nongshim Red Force is currently on the MVP list with XCY on the screen right now.
Yeah, I mean, 4 finishes from the guy from Nongshim. The entirety of Nongshim was pretty much just feeling themselves. There was a moment inside of the game where we all felt like Nongshim could have eliminated DRX, especially Tizzy. He was able to find those 2 crucial knockouts. I personally thought DRX is done for right then and there. But the lucky part for DRX is that the man ran out of utility.
Yeah.
And that's why DRX was not eliminated in that circumstance.
That is very true, man. Had he had like a couple of need or Molotovs, it would have been over then and there. But it was an interesting game. Nongshim Red Force, we do see XCY walking over with the MVP. DRX, they have 2 players there, QXZ and Yunbin. Nolbu, I was waiting for this man to show up the whole day, and then the last Miramar, he finally displays what he's made of. By the way, he's one of the best players on that stage right now.
Exactly, in the world, I would say. But let us talk a little bit more on towards their points that they have earned in the match. Obviously, we have to talk about DRX. They've got 19 points, followed by Nongshim with 16 points. D plus Kia with 11 points. 3 South Korean teams in the tabletop here with the map of Miramar. And so far, 2 games of Miramar has been played here at BMIC. And it's been a complete domination by the international teams here.
Guys, we've been talking so much about the other Indian teams or the international teams as well. But we completely forgot to talk about True Rippers. This team is slipping under the radar, guys. Still in the top 4, True Rippers is consistently getting those points. And I'm pretty sure True Rippers, if they keep on moving with the same pace, they will be in the top 2 tomorrow.
I mean, they can be, but you have to agree with me on this, Necro. True Rippers, for some reason, are being a little bit more aggressive than they usually are. Because True Rippers, as I said this at the start of the day, True Rippers, DRX have similar playstyle, but DRX, they convert more fights. True Rippers, they don't, but they play for survival as well. And look at what the result of DRX being consistent has been throughout the day. The most amount of placement points, most amount of finishes. The next in line, Nebula has only 17 placement points in 6 games. That's not enough.
Now, as of yet here, let's talk about the MVP of the tournament thus far. The contenders on screen here. Hyunbin coming from DRX here is on number 1 here with 18 finishes, followed by XQXZZZ with 10 points. And then 19 finishes from Hyunbin, XQZZ with 15 finishes, Hydro with 12, 11 for Legit, and then Nagon from Reignite with 11 finishes. These are currently your top MVP tournaments here. At the start of the day, we had a couple of discussions about, maybe it's going to be Nebula, maybe it's going to be Kratos here, but now after after 6 matches, this is pretty strong start here coming from DRX.
And I guess the funny part is that from Japan, we all thought that Reject will be the one to dominate, but instead Reignite's the one to do extremely good, right? That's been a major surprise for all of us.
I'm happy seeing Reignite do well, man. I mean, we got a chance to talk to the players as well, amazing human beings. And of course, I mean, with how they are playing, nothing too flashy, sticking to the fundamentals, that is what I would want from a team that is playing in a fresh region for the first time. You gotta get a better understanding of what you're up against. But again, Reignite have done that perfectly.
Now, when we talk about adaptations and, of course, the element of surprise of first game scenarios on how the teams are going to be acting as well here, we're pretty much way past that. Six matches has pretty much done for as well. Korean teams and Japanese teams do have a little bit of understanding on how the Indian lobbies are going to be looking like as well. And you can see match 4, match 5 onwards, there was major adaptations coming from international teams.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see whether or not Day 2 itself tomorrow, are we going to see the adaptation coming from Indian teams?
I mean, hopefully we are. I mean, I would want them to just keep the foot on the pedal, man. There's no two ways about it.
As much as I really want to see the adaptations coming through, I know Day 2 is the day of comebacks, and tomorrow a lot of the international teams on the latter half of the board will make a bounce back. But maybe K9 as well, with that same flow, can move up.
I was just going to say, you're talking about comebacks from the latter half of the board. Indian teams are on the latter half of the board.
Well,
I know.
For all things considered, 2, 3, 4 is still Indian teams here. But